decided to join us on our little trade fair today, then a very warm welcome to you. If you're from Europe or if you're just joining back from having a break, this is the last sort of half an hour or so of the trade fair. We've got one presentation left, which is actually going to be me, and then we'll do a quick final tour of the exhibition interface for anyone that has just joined us and doesn't really know how to use it. If you are watching on YouTube or on LinkedIn, just be aware that you will only be able to see the live stream, but you won't actually be able to get into the exhibition. If you want to go in and visit all of the supplier and exhibitor booths from within ISTF, then you need to head over to the website, which is istf.eu. That little prompt that you will see on the screen, pop your email in there. You will then get an email just with a link to confirm your email address. Once you click on that, then you have access and you're off to the races and good to go. And what we're going to show after the presentation is just a quick walkthrough of how you can find and filter different suppliers on different suppliers, different countries, different sectors, categories from within fair. We have over 205 exhibitors from 9 different countries in Southeast Europe. We have companies from Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia, Albania, North Macedonia, Bulgaria, Romania, Greece, and Hungary. I can remember all of them now. The first time I reeled them off this morning, I was struggling once I got to number 7 or number 8, but now it's easy. Last thing in the afternoon. So this is Tamo's just doing a quick show at on the front end of the interface there, how the user experience and the user interface looks. You can scroll through all of the different exhibition booths there, and on the left hand side you've also got the different categories that you can filter. This is just an example of FemSolve's booth, just to show you an example of what it looks like, the contact person and some of the products in the pictures below that are showcased. And you also have that orange button that you can see there underneath their salesperson's contact details, which allows you to have a one-on-one video conference with that company. Not all exhibitors have that feature. That is a premium feature. So if you do go into some of the exhibitor booths that have free package, you will not be able to see that feature. But some of the exhibitors do have live one-on-one video conferencing facilities available, so as they can speak to you one-on-one. And what we find from this is the advantage of having a virtual trade fair like this versus just looking up suppliers on Google or on supplier directories is that all of these contact details are correct. There are real people behind these exhibition stands who are online today and are awaiting your inquiries either by email or by the video conferencing facility. So that is a big difference between scouting for suppliers and looking for suppliers in some of the more old school ways, where it's often pretty difficult to get responses because you're not sure if the email has gone to the right person, or maybe the phone number in a directory is out of date. I think, Tamo, you're just about to do a quick demo of the video conferencing facility. So let's see if we can make this work live. So Tamo, you're trying to contact Limex, I think, or trying to contact one of these companies. Have you had any joy? I think you're on mute.
I've been actually doing a nice round tour here. I mean, among the exhibitors, and had a really fruitful discussion with quite many of them. No, I just wanted to showcase how this works. I mean, if for example, we haven't, let's say, fixed this or said that, I mean, they need to be online for now, but I mean, just to show the experience, then I mean, if you are in a booth and you see that Evgeny and that EMS is an interesting company. They also did a good presentation here a few hours ago. then you want to start the chat with Evgeny, then it's just, I mean, join the meeting, and Evgeny, I think, is here, or at least the picture is here, so I can actually chat with him if he's maybe offline for a moment, because there has been a long day for them as well. But this is, I mean, how it goes. I mean, it's a super smooth and a good experience for the visitors. So we are using a different tools here in order to make it this experience good. So yeah, so this is I mean, if you're just joined, then feel free to browse the companies and meet up with them. So all right, let's see if the Alice is here.
What could possibly go wrong trying to do it live?
It works. I mean, right? Always live. No, it's yeah, because we haven't set it up. We haven't said Alice that, I mean, he be there. Do not go to the coffee break, I mean, at this moment, or maybe because, I mean, it's the good thing with these virtual fairs is also that well, you do not really, I mean, if you are a exhibitor, then you do not really need to, let's say, stand up the whole day and I mean, you can, I mean, do things in parallel. I mean, if somebody is coming to your booth, then I mean, you will be notified, or you will there is a knocking right function, so then you will let them in. But I mean, other than that, you can do the normal day-to-day activities. So you might be on a meeting currently, so maybe you're not available here. But anyhow, I mean, you're able to find their contact details, you know the persons, and it's very easy to take the next steps. That, hey, I saw you on your display on ISTF, so why don't we discuss some business matters?
Absolutely. Okay, so now I think we're okay to go to the next presentation.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I'm now going to jump into presentation mode, and as the final presentation, just quickly present my business and what I do. It should only be about 10 minutes long. If you have any questions, all of my contact details are at the end. So just share my screen. So let's talk about procurement, or purchasing, or buying. We're going to talk a little bit in this presentation really about how buying smarter can help you increase your profit margins, manage your spend better, and also improve your cash flow. I'm going to ask you a question. Just imagine if you could impact your profit and loss with no risk and at no upfront cost and essentially no investment. Well, you can do that by buying smarter and just be a lot more strategic in how your purchasing operations. And depending on the size of the business, you probably already have an in-house buying team, and they're probably good at what they do. But in a lot of smaller and medium-sized businesses, especially, what procurement or purchasing has typically historically done is just tactical operational buying, things like converting requisitions into purchase orders, dealing with delivery and quality and invoicing problems, managing suppliers with a lot of day-to-day issues, keeping the plant running, any new projects, getting any invoices resolved, fixing any crises or any supply problems. But what doesn't happen is the execution of strategic expense reduction strategy across all areas of what you're spending. And what you find is, in a lot of businesses, raw materials purchasing is usually managed pretty well, because that's essential to the production of the product that is being made in a manufacturing company. But when you look at non-production materials and services, that is often the sort of areas of spend that get managed by maintenance engineers, HR assistants, marketing, IT, logistics, and all those other departments. So really, that's where I come in. And my goal as a consultant is that I'm here to help you. I'm not here to replace your purchasing team. I'm not there to take work away from existing members of staff. What I'm there to do is to complement them in the areas that they could use the most help. And I work typically with businesses that are big enough to need my help, but are small enough usually to not have a specific dedicated procurement department looking at all areas of spend. And I focus on manufacturing businesses in both the UK and in continental Europe. And especially for larger businesses, I focus on the long tail of low volume, of low value, high volume purchases that typically don't get managed because they're not big areas of spend with one specific supplier. And that's often where there is a lot of opportunity because historically it's not been managed well. So let's go back a couple of steps. And every company knows what they sell, right? You know, pretty much every company, if you ask the CEO or if you ask the CFO, they're going to be able to tell you what their sales figures were for the last year. But how many truly understand what they buy? Now, most companies will probably be able to tell you what they spent in total with external suppliers over the past year, but not many of them will be able to drill down and tell you what they were spending with each specific supplier and what they were actually spending that money on once you drill down into the detail of what's actually being purchased. And that's crazy, really, because typically in the average manufacturing business, 60% of a manufacturing business's turnover is spent with external suppliers. So are you getting value for money? And my argument would be that if a maintenance engineer or an HR assistant is spending your money rather than a trained procurement professional, then you're probably leaving some cash on the table, because you most definitely wouldn't send those people out on a field visit to lead a sales meeting with a potential customer. And it's the exact same reason why you shouldn't be giving them figuratively the company credit card to go out and buy goods and services and negotiate contracts with suppliers. It's commercial madness if you're doing that. So if you've got a logistics manager managing your forklift truck fleet, or managing your road haulage contracts, or if you've got an IT manager managing your mobile phone spend, then please, for the love of God, stop doing it and contact a procurement professional who can help you walk you through where there may be some opportunities to take some cost out of that spend. And what I do is offer 4 different areas where I can help you drive value. So the first thing typically is that I would come in and look at what you're spending with whom, and then put together a detailed roadmap of where you could make savings. And I would do that by just looking at all the invoices that you've paid over the last year or 2 years, however far you want to go back, and then categorizing those different suppliers based on their criticality, based on how much is being spent with them, based on the cost of switching, and how easy it is to find potentially another supplier that could provide that same good or service, so as we could run some tenders and find some quick wins. I can also look at digitizing your administrative purchasing processes, which will both save you time and save you money. So if you're doing a very manual or paper-based process of issuing purchasing orders and then booking your invoices, there is lots of software out there now that can do a lot of the heavy lifting that maybe an admin assistant or somebody in accounts payable is currently doing manually, to free up that resource so as they can spend their time on doing something that's more value added than just pushing paper. And especially in Europe, what I find is the further south and the further east that you go in Europe, purchasing is still, and procurement is still a very immature function, and it's also usually a very administrative function. So what I find in businesses, particularly in this region, is that procurement is usually very tactical, very transactional, and not at all strategic. So what I want to do is come in and deliver savings and highlight any risk in your supply chain, so as you've got a much tougher, much leaner, and much more strategic procurement operation. And what we usually find is the biggest suppliers are usually well managed. So if you look at how much you spend with each supplier, you often find that you have a huge amount of suppliers that you spend relatively little with. But when you add all of that up together, it becomes quite a big amount of money that is really just cash that's been left on the table now, because it costs money to administer these suppliers with their invoice and processing costs, all of the employee time, sorting out things like unpaid invoices, managing price lists and contracts. If you've got hundreds of suppliers that make up this long tail and you're not managing them, what we can do there to optimize your process and also to take out, even if you have in-house procurement, they're probably not managing to the best of their ability or resource all of these long tail suppliers, which typically tend to be in non-production materials and services, whereas those suppliers in the green on this chart will tend to be your raw materials or energy suppliers, which understandably are generally better managed. So let's take an example of how I can increase your bottom line without slashing any critical budgets, because usually when the economy is tough, a CFO will just slash spend on things like marketing and training, travel, investments in capital equipment, and that can often be quite counterproductive. So with this little example, I'm going to show you how an average engineering company with 25 million euro turnover could typically add 1 or 2 percentage points to their bottom line just by doing procurement well. So 25 million turnover business, if they're growing at 5% a year, then 5% of 25 is 1.25 million. Now, with COVID-19, that growth may have been wiped out. So if this company is making 12% profit, which is pretty normal for a manufacturing, more traditional manufacturing business, 12% of 25 is 3 million. So the 12% additional profit from the 5% growth that they would have had, but they're no longer getting because the company is stagnating as a result of the state of the economy, that's 150,000 euro that they're no longer going to get as part of their bottom line. So the only way that a company can maintain their profit margin is through reducing what they spend. And we'll do this the smart way, not by cutting budgets, not by cutting corners, not by firing people. We'll do it by looking at all of your spend and by taking money out of there. So a 5%, just 5% expense reduction across all of your spend, which can be immediately addressed and is not impacted by commodity inflation, will often replace, or almost always replace, the hit that's been caused by the pandemic and the recession that we had last year that we're still, let's face it, struggling to get out of because all of the ongoing lockdowns. So even in a business that isn't growing, through strategic procurement and spend reduction, we can deliver the savings that you will need to increase your bottom line by over 5% in real terms, or by 1 or 2 actual percentage points. And this is it visually. So if you've got a $25 million turnover, 60% of that is typically spent with your external suppliers. So 15 million euro is spent on goods and services with an external supply base. Most of that is obviously going to be raw materials and energy, which is very commodity price driven, but around 30% of it will be on indirect goods and services that don't go into the production process. And this is where there is often some low-hanging fruit. And let's just assume that of that €4.5 million, 70% of that are supplies and purchase orders that can be immediately addressed to look at where we can take cost out. So 3.15 million. And if we take 5% out of that, which is a pretty conservative estimate, I would say that 10% is achievable in a lot of businesses. But if we can take just 5% out of that, that's €158,000 that I could pretty quickly take out of your business and replace that lost 150,000 profit that we saw on the previous slide that you're not getting this year if your growth has stagnated or even if your business has shrunk as a result of COVID-19 and losing some business off the back of it. So how do we do this? Well, initially, we would look at what you're spending, and then we would align with you and your key stakeholders of how much of that spend is immediately addressable, and what do we want to save from that. We would then present that as a blueprint and get the buy-in from your senior stakeholders. So it's typically from your production, your director of production or plant manager, your CEO and your CFO. We would then run tenders, or we would renegotiate any existing agreements so as we can quickly assess and implement some savings. And then if you wanted us to, we could stay and implement those results and drive that value through your business. Or if you have an in-house team who you think are capable of doing that on their own, then we would just hand over the results at that time, and we would allow you then to go and implement what we would recommend as savings. So typically in under 6 months, this is deliverable for a 20, 25, 30 million euro business with maybe 1 or 2 production sites. Once you get bigger than that as a business, then if you're adding complexity, multiple plants, several different ERP systems, lots of different countries where you have production, then it can become more complex and take longer to realize those savings. But typically for a business of that size, it can be delivered within 6 months. We also use software, as I mentioned, including our friends over at Procurement Flow. I'm an official partner. My business is an official partner of a few different software solutions that we can use and also sort of resell to you if you want to take advantage of streamlining some of your administrative processes, which can also drive a lot more value permanently once we've done the initial scoping out and implementation of any projects. So procurement tech is here to stay, and is a huge industry right now. HR and sales and manufacturing have had a lot of technical investment over the years. Procurement, not so much. Excuse me. So there are 4 different ways that I can work with you depending on what it is that you're looking for and which model you think is most relevant to your business, to the size of your business, and to your budget. So I can either be a virtual procurement director on an ongoing basis, providing advisory services to you and working 2 or 3 days a month within your business, typically supporting board meetings and any important supplier negotiations as a trusted right hand who is permanently a part of your business and a part of your team. I can do it on a time-based classical consulting model where I would just charge you a daily rate for my services, and that would typically be, a fixed-term project where I would come in for a few months and deliver you the results that you want to get from any sort of spend management project on a firm sort of deliverables basis against a day rate or a fixed project fee. The other model is what I call risk-free or no win, no pay, no win, no fee type of relationship where I will come in and assess the opportunities, and I would take a percentage of any savings that I'm able to realize or identify for you. So the benefit there is it's completely free for you as a service at the point of entry. But then theoretically, if I go in and make some big savings, the percentage I would take would usually be larger than the day rate that I would charge, simply because my business am taking on all of the risk there. Or I can also work on a flat project fee if there's a specific deliverable piece of work that you want me to come in and do for you. For example, if you want me to go in and source you or negotiate a new forklift truck fleet, for example, or a new warehouse or a piece of machinery and equipment, that would typically be done against a flat project fee. So these are the 3 different ways that you can contact me. Either visit the website, connect with me on LinkedIn, or just book an initial introductory call with me, which is completely free. I need to understand more about your business and learn more about what you do to be able to evaluate and understand whether or not I can help you. So any initial consultation is completely free. And I would very much like to learn more about your business and how I can potentially help you. So thank you very much to everyone who's watched this. And with that, I'm going to hand back to, stop sharing my screen and hand back to the ISTF studio. And we're back. Tamo, are you still there? Let's do one last run through of the ISTF platform. And then we're going to sign off for the day in terms of the live activity. But the ISTF interface and the ISTF website is going to be open until midnight tonight. All of our exhibitors are going to be online, probably for another 1 or 2 hours to catch any latecomers and any last minute inquiries that they may get throughout the course of the afternoon. But other than that, we're pretty much done here at ISTF for the day. Tamo, do you want to come back online just for a sec, just to do a few closing remarks, and then we will. It's 3:30 East European time now, 2:30 Central European. We will then sign off. So Tamo, over to you.
Yeah, I was just sorry. I was a bit. I had these 2 calls in between. I mean, I'm also. There are so many interesting companies that I was actually on a call here with Limex Total currently. So interesting stuff that they are doing, and also shared the experience of let's say the real trade fair compared to virtual one. Obviously, I mean, she has been on multiple fairs. I mean, and well, one argument is definitely the cost size. So I mean, going to the fair in Germany, in France, I mean, it's currently it's not possible, but I mean, once it was possible, then it also was pretty hefty for the budget. So yeah, definitely that's one thing why these virtual events and fairs are definitely, they have advantage. And for our visitors, I think they can also go through, I mean, more companies during the day. So also the efficiency side. So James, what's on the agenda? Sorry, because I had this different call. I didn't hear your live, although I enjoyed, I mean, the slides that you were showing.
You know what I do anyway, right? Maybe just as a final closing remark, Tom, obviously this is something that we've done as a virtual trade fair, but I know that with the technology that Procurement Flow has and with the interface that's been developed to run these virtual trade shows, maybe if anyone from an industry association or perhaps a chamber of commerce out here in Southeast Europe is looking at this right now, maybe just say a few words about how we could potentially help them with any virtual trade fairs that they may want to run, and if they want to reach out to us, how they can get in touch.
Yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, Limex was the one that I was referring to. Very interesting company. But regarding this fair, I mean, it's the trade fair. I mean, this is not our, let's say, Procurement Flow is really the core product. I mean, core product is either Procurement Flow. I showcased a bit earlier, but because of, I mean, all the situation, currently out there, and I think that the virtual fairs is something that will develop, and well, they are developed a lot. I mean, there is just a question. I mean, about the focus. I mean, our focus is clearly on matchmaking, of offering that unique B2B experience, rather than just showing the conferencing, let's say, or the keynotes. But I mean, more action should be at booth. That's our main focus, or that's our aim. But regarding these fairs, because the platform which is built here, I mean, can be easily, let's say, switched to different colors, to different purposes. So yeah, if anyone is interested also to organize that fair, which can be, I would say, pulled off in relatively short time, I mean, 2 to 3 weeks, then contact me. I mean, it's the same. I mean, procurement flow through procurementflow.com. I mean, find us on LinkedIn, or then drop us an email, right? So it would be tarmo.seidler@procurementflow.com. So but yeah, easiest way would be to go to our main main landing page. There is just the one green button, but I mean, if you put your email here, then you will get a reply from us, and then you can specify, I mean, what is actually your need, and maybe this need is not the procurement software, but instead doing something on a trade fair site. Then we are also open for that. And also, if there are bigger corporations, I mean, bigger companies, then for them, I mean, we have been offering supplier days, sales days, etc., which can also be built into the same kind of platform. So it's a pretty, let's say, it's pretty well customizable in that sense.
All right. Yeah, it's very versatile, isn't it? It can be used from both the supplier side and the sales or internal event side. If a company wants to invite its suppliers or invite all of its sales affiliates or sales partners, they can do something similar with the technology that's available. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Tarmo. Okay, so with that, I think we're pretty much done for the day. So all that's left to say is a huge thank you to everybody who has joined us on ISTF today, whether you've been watching on LinkedIn or on YouTube, or have been interacting live within the trade fair at istf.eu. We appreciate everyone that stopped by and had a look at what we're doing. A special thanks to all of our exhibitors, and especially our bronze and silver exhibitors, and our partners, the Bulgarian Chamber of Commerce and Industry and TLL Media, for helping us to promote the event. We hope that everyone that visited has had a successful day and has managed to find either a new supplier or a new customer, depending on whether you're on the buy side or the sell side. And have a great rest of the afternoon. Please reach out and connect with us on LinkedIn. It would be great to stay in touch and learn a little bit more about your businesses and what you got from the fair. Please give us feedback. Drop them on LinkedIn or an email. We would love to hear from you, especially if there is something that you feel that we could do better or improve on. Should we do another one of these at some point later in the year, it's always fantastic to get feedback, both good and bad, from attendees, to understand what worked well and what perhaps didn't. We only had a minor tech problem around about lunchtime. Other than that, I think everything has worked pretty smoothly. So my neighbors weren't doing any drilling, and that my internet connection stayed up. Yeah, have a great day for joining us. Bye for now.
Thank you.